I stand in my parents' kitchen on Christmas Eve, my hands trembling as I arrange rosemary sprigs around the perfectly roasted turkey. The silver serving tray catches the chandelier light, reflecting my flushed face back at me. My mother's voice carries from the dining room, "Honey sweet," as she introduces my younger sister to someone important. "This is our Melissa, the family's pride and joy. She's handling public relations for Bloomfield Industries now," Evelyn Hale announces, her tone brimming with maternal adoration. "Senior position, you know. Only 29 and already making waves in corporate America." The guests murmur appreciatively. I recognize the voice of Senator Williams among them. Another Christmas Eve surrounded by Connecticut's elite while I slave away in the kitchen. "And your other daughter?" someone asks. Brief pause. "Christine is around somewhere," my mother says dismissively. "She's quite handy in the kitchen." My stomach knots. 15 years building Aurora Events from nothing into a multi-million-dollar luxury event company. And to my mother, I'm still just the helpful daughter who can be counted on to prepare the family meals. The turkey platter grows heavier in my hands. I straighten my shoulders and push through the swinging door into the dining room. The conversation halts as I enter, 12 pairs of eyes turning toward me, or rather toward the masterpiece I've spent 8 hours preparing. "Here she is now," my mother says, her smile tight. As I place the turkey at the center of the table, Waterford crystal, Wedgwood china, sterling silver flatware, all gleaming under the antique chandelier, she adds with a brittle laugh, "At least Christine is useful for something." The room tilts slightly. My cheeks burn as Senator Williams' wife offers a sympathetic smile. I'm 33 years old, responsible for coordinating presidential fundraisers and celebrity weddings. Yet here I stand, serving others as though I were staff rather than family. "The cranberry sauce is my grandmother's recipe," I manage to say, my voice steadier than I feel. My mother waves her hand dismissively. "Christine always did have a knack for following instructions." I retreat to the kitchen, leaning against the marble counter. After 15 years, I'm still just the kitchen help. The realization sits in my chest like a stone. 15 years, I whisper to myself, disbelieving. And nothing has changed. I remember my first Christmas dinner for the family. 18 years old, desperately trying to please after my acceptance to culinary school instead of the Ivy League path my parents had mapped out. While Melissa unwrapped cashmere sweaters and diamond earrings, I stood in the same kitchen, terrified of disappointing them with my cooking. Just yesterday, Elizabeth had praised my business acumen after negotiating the Horizon Resorts contract, a $2.5 million deal that would elevate Aurora Events to national recognition. "You're a strategic genius, Christine," she'd said, her eyes shining with genuine admiration. "They never saw you coming." The kitchen door swings open, and my mother appears, her silver-streaked hair perfectly coiffed, her crimson dress tailored to hide the effects of time. "The senator is waiting for dessert," she says, checking her pearl watch. "What's taking so long?" I look at the lineup of pies and trifles I'd prepared before dawn. Something shifts inside me, a small, quiet rebellion. "I need a moment," I say, removing my apron. Evelyn's eyes narrow. "Don't be dramatic, Christine. This is what you're good at." My father appears in the doorway behind her, his tall frame slightly stooped now, his expression uncomfortable but silent. Richard Hale, once a formidable businessman, now retired and unwilling to contradict his wife of 38 years. "Is there a problem?" he asks, voice low. "Christine is having one of her moments," my mother says. "I'm not having a moment," I reply quietly. "I'm recognizing a pattern." My father shifts uneasily. Outside the kitchen window, snowflakes drift down onto the manicured landscape of their Connecticut estate. The same estate purchased with money from the business my father sold, the business he never thought to share with me despite my degree in business administration. My mother gestures impatiently toward the desserts. "The Hendersons and the Williamsons are waiting. Do you have any idea how important tonight is for your sister's connections?" The implication hangs in the air between us. My success doesn't matter. My connections don't. Only Melissa's matter. I'll bring them out, I say, picking up the first tray. My mother nods curtly and leaves. My father lingers a moment longer, opens his mouth as if to speak, then follows her without saying a word. In the dining room, I serve each guest personally, smiling professionally. The same smile I use at events where billionaires treat me with more respect than my own family does. Melissa holds court at the far end of the table, her blonde hair catching the light. Her laughter musical as she entertains Senator Williams with some anecdote about her latest PR triumph. My phone vibrates in my pocket just as I serve the last slice of chocolate truffle tart. I check it discreetly. Elizabeth. Emergency at the office. Horizon contract issue. Need you as soon as possible. I read the message twice. Elizabeth knows there's no emergency. This is our prearranged signal. Her offering me an escape route from family obligations that become too much. I face a choice. Maintain the peace or assert my dignity. The faces around the table blur slightly as I make my decision. I have to go, I announce, removing the serving napkin from my arm. Business emergency. My mother's expression hardens. On Christmas Eve. Surely whatever it is can wait until tomorrow. It's the Horizon contract, I say. And for the first time tonight, I see a flicker of recognition in her eyes. She's heard of Horizon Resorts, even if she pretends not to follow my career. Christine runs some sort of catering business, she explains to Senator Williams, her voice dripping with condescension. Event planning, actually, I correct her. We're coordinating Horizon's national brand relaunch. The senator raises his eyebrows, impressed. The Horizon deal. That's a major contract. My mother's smile freezes. Melissa's eyes dart between us, suddenly alert. I really must go, I say, gathering my coat and purse from the kitchen. Outside, Elizabeth's car idles in the circular driveway, snow gathering on its windshield. Her concerned eyes meet mine as I slide into the passenger seat. Same as last year? She asks gently. Worse, I reply. They know exactly what I do for a living. They just choose not to acknowledge it. As the car pulls away, I watch the warm glow of the family home recede in the side mirror. The realization crystallizes within me, turning from hurt to resolution. This is the last holiday I will spend as their servant, I say, my voice quiet but firm. Elizabeth nods, her hands steady on the wheel as we leave Connecticut behind, heading back toward my real life, the one I built without their approval or acknowledgement. Elizabeth nods. Marcus from catering has a cousin who works in the service staff. He's been reporting back. Your mother's been asking pointed questions about Horizons, VP of Marketing. I make a note in my leather-bound planner. James, can you reach out discreetly to your contact at First National? If they're planning to question our financial stability, I want advance warning. Already done, he replies, sliding a folder across the table. I've also prepared contingency financing, if they try to pressure our current lenders. The methodical approach feels right. No emotional outbursts, just calculated defense measures built on years of business acumen. I've spent too long reacting to their sabotage. Now I'm anticipating it. We should consider. I begin, but Elizabeth's phone interrupts with a text alert. Her expression tightens as she reads the message. Christine, they've just hired Victoria Foster as a family PR consultant. The name hits like ice water. Victoria Foster, the PR executive who sued Aurora 3 years ago when we refused to hire her daughter as an event coordinator. The lawsuit was dismissed, but not before she attempted to poison several client relationships with whisper campaigns about our hiring practices. They know, I say quietly. They know exactly where to hit us. James frowns. Foster still has connections at Vanity Fair and the Journal. And she's been gunning for revenge since the lawsuit, Elizabeth adds. This isn't just about the contract anymore. They're targeting your professional reputation. I feel a momentary spike of anxiety before strategic clarity returns. I've underestimated them. They're not just desperate, they're dangerous. And they know our company's vulnerabilities better than I realized. They're smarter than I gave them credit for, I say, turning back to the window. The rain has stopped, leaving glistening streets below. Prepare media response templates for every possible accusation. We need to be ready to counter anything Foster might plant. I catch my reflection in the glass, the set of my jaw, the focused eyes. I barely recognize myself. There's no trace of the kitchen helper seeking approval, only a CEO protecting what she's built. They want a war, I say. Let's make sure we win it. That evening, I stare at the documents spread across the conference room table. James leans forward, his silver-rimmed glasses reflecting the fluorescent light as he adds another spreadsheet to the pile. The numbers tell a story of success and stability. 15 years of building Aurora Events into a powerhouse that even my family couldn't ignore. These financial transparency reports should satisfy any concerns Horizon might have, James says, his deep voice steady as he gestures to the impeccably organized statements. I've included vendor payment histories showing we've never missed a deadline. Elizabeth nods, her auburn hair catching the light as she places a leather portfolio beside his documents. And I've collected testimonials from every major client over the past 3 years. The Vanderbilts were particularly effusive about last summer's charity gala. Good. I tap my fingertips against the polished mahogany. Let's strengthen the contract language too. I want ironclad protections against third-party interference. For days we've worked methodically, anticipating every possible angle of attack. This isn't about the satisfaction I felt confronting Melissa at the restaurant. This is about protecting something bigger. My company, my legacy, my chosen family. We're not preparing for another skirmish, I tell them, my voice calmer than I feel. We're preparing for war. Elizabeth pulls her tablet closer, scrolling through her notes. I spoke with Danielle at Horizon this morning. She mentioned that your mother called their office yesterday. My stomach tightens. What did she want? She didn't say. Elizabeth's expression remains carefully neutral, but I catch the slight tension in her shoulders. But Danielle thought it odd that Mrs. Hale was asking about the project management team assignments, specifically who would be handling the contract execution. Freeze. Did she ask about you specifically? Elizabeth's eyes meet mine. By name. The conference room suddenly feels colder. One thing to come after me and my company. But Elizabeth? The thought of my family targeting her makes my blood run hot. They're researching everyone close to me, I realize aloud. Not just the business. They're looking for personal vulnerabilities. James removes his glasses, polishing them with a handkerchief. That's a concerning escalation. It's smart, I admit, hating the grudging respect I feel for their strategy. Target the people I trust and they weaken my defense. I turn to Elizabeth, whose calm professionalism can't completely mask her concern. We need to protect you too. I can handle myself, she says with quiet dignity. But I see the question in her eyes. How far will my family go? Christine. Elizabeth prompts, reading my expression with the ease of long partnership. I need you to be careful, I say finally. Document everything. No meetings alone with anyone from my family. Forward any unusual inquiries directly to me. She studies me for a moment, then nods. There's something you're not telling me. There's a lot I'm not telling you, I admit, because I'm not entirely sure what they're capable of anymore. Her expression softens. I've worked with you for 10 years. Whatever they try, we'll handle it together. James clears his throat. I've adjusted the financial presentations to address any potential questions about Elizabeth's role in the company. Her track record speaks for itself. I glance between them. My chosen family, the people who've believed in me when blood relations wouldn't. The stakes have suddenly grown beyond business success or professional vindication. Now I'm fighting to protect them too. By midnight, we've rebuilt our strategy. Additional documentation about Elizabeth's credentials, character references from industry leaders, security protocols for our communications. Each element is carefully constructed to shield not just Aurora Events, but the people who make it what it is. James collects his jacket from the back of his chair. "We're as ready as we can be," he says, his voice gruff with fatigue. "The Horizon meeting is on Thursday." Elizabeth stands beside me at the window, gazing out at the Manhattan skyline. The city lights reflect in her eyes as she says with quiet certainty, "They won't know what hit them." I feel a strange calm settle over me as I survey our preparations. No longer the anxious daughter seeking approval, but the CEO protecting what she's built. The transformation feels complete, from family servant to strategic defender. This week will bring the confrontation I've been preparing for since that Christmas Eve in my mother's kitchen. But tonight, for the first time, I'm not afraid of what my family might do. I'm ready for them. The next morning at the office, I stare at my phone as the Horizon executive's voicemail finishes. My hand trembles when I set it down on my desk. "Emergency board meeting tomorrow. 8 a.m. We need to discuss some concerns that have been raised about Aurora events." The carefully measured pause in his voice tells me everything. My family has made their move. Elizabeth appears in my doorway, face drawn with worry. "Christine, what happened?" "They went straight to Horizon." I keep my voice level despite the inferno raging inside. "They didn't just spread rumors this time. They called the CEO directly." James wheels his chair from his adjacent office, financial reports clutched in his hands. He's been working past midnight for 3 days straight, preparing our defensive position. The deep circles under his eyes match my own. "How bad?" he asks. "Emergency board meeting tomorrow morning. Complete financial review." Elizabeth sinks into the chair across from my desk. They timed it perfectly. 1 day before the contract signing. I nod, bile rising in my throat. After 15 years building Aurora events, my family chooses now to deliver their killing blow. The Horizon contract represents everything we've worked toward. National recognition, expansion into 5 new markets, validation of our business model. My phone buzzes again. This time it's a text from a longtime vendor. "Christine, Melissa called asking about your payment history. Said she was working with your accountant. Team fishy. Thought you should know." I hold up the phone to show Elizabeth and James. They're methodical, going after our vendor relationships too. James leans forward, his voice a low growl. "They're contacting everyone. I just got off with Hargrove Linens. Victoria Foster called them claiming to be conducting a standard business ethics review for Horizon." Elizabeth's eyes widen. My stomach knots tighter. My mother never does anything halfway. The PR lawsuit had been frivolous. My desk phone lights up. 3 incoming messages within the past 10 minutes. All from different Horizon board members. They've orchestrated a full-scale attack. I say, scrolling through the voicemail notifications. Look at the timestamp on these calls. All within minutes of each other. Elizabeth's fingers fly across her tablet, pulling up our emergency response protocol. "Your father called Horizon's CEO directly. Claimed to be concerned about your company's stability given some troubling financial indicators." "What financial indicators?" James demands. The accountant in him genuinely offended. "Our books are immaculate." I lean back in my chair, a strange calm replacing my initial panic. This isn't just petty family sabotage anymore. This is a declaration of war. He's referencing the Westbrook contract cancellation from last month. I say, the pieces clicking into place. "Remember how suddenly they pulled out? No explanation. Full deposit forfeited." James nods slowly. "Your father has connections there. And my mother plays bridge with Mrs. Westbrook every Tuesday," I add. "They sacrificed a $50,000 deposit just to create a troubling financial indicator." The sheer calculation takes my breath away. This is impulse. This is strategic demolition. Planned for maximum impact. They're positioning themselves as concerned citizens. Elizabeth says, scrolling through her tablet, "Look at this email thread. Melissa reached out to Patricia Henderson, claiming she's worried about your decision-making capabilities lately. Patricia Henderson sits on Horizon's advisory board. James stands abruptly. I'm calling Haig and Associates right now. We need their third-party financial audit ready for tomorrow. Already done, Elizabeth says, sliding a folder across my desk. Complete 5-year financial history, profitability metrics, client satisfaction ratings, vendor payment schedules, certified copies, triplicate sets. I open the folder. Pages of financial health stare back at me. Aurora Events isn't just stable, we're thriving. Double-digit growth each year for 5 consecutive years. Outstanding credit rating. 0 complaints filed with any regulatory agency. The staff is mobilized too. Elizabeth continues. Every department head has contacted their key relationships. The strategy we planned in chapters 4 and 5 is fully activated. My phone buzzes again. Not another Horizon executive, but the caterer from my sister's wedding 3 years ago. Christine, your mother just called asking about our experience with Aurora. Said she was doing reference checks. Told her you're the best in the business. Hope that's what you wanted. I show the message to Elizabeth, who smiles grimly. They're calling our allies too, but they don't realize we've spent years building genuine relationships while they were playing social games. The conference phone lights up. James answers on speaker. Christine, I'm calling as a courtesy. We've received some concerning communications about Aurora Events. The board has called an emergency meeting tomorrow at 8. You'll need to present. I understand, I reply, voice steadier than I feel. We'll be prepared. This isn't standard procedure, Sarah adds, her voice lowering. Someone's pulling strings. Hard. After she hangs up, the 3 of us sit in momentary silence, the magnitude of tomorrow's battle sinking in. We need to stay here tonight, I say finally. Review everything. Prepare the presentation. James nods, already reopening his laptop. I'll have the complete financial analysis ready in 2 hours. I've compiled testimonials from every major client for the past 3 years, Elizabeth says, and documented evidence of each family sabotage attempt. I watch my chosen family mobilize around me, their competence a stark contrast to the toxic manipulation of my biological relatives. The Horizon contract isn't just business anymore. It's vindication of everything I've built despite my family's interference. Tomorrow morning we will show Horizon what real business integrity looks like, Elizabeth says, squeezing my shoulder. James looks up from his computer, confidence replacing the fatigue in his eyes. Our numbers tell the real story, Christine. They can spread all the rumors they want, but facts don't lie. I open my presentation software and begin organizing our defense. Later that night, the timer on my desk, a reminder of where I started, shows 10:42 p.m. Tomorrow's presentation is at 8 a.m. Less than 10 hours to prepare for the fight of my professional life. As I work through the night, one thought sustains me. After tomorrow, either Aurora Events will secure its future, or my family will succeed in destroying everything I've built. There is no middle ground left.